Heavenly Father, as this day comes to its end, I come to you simply to give thanks. Not because everything today went the way I hoped, not because I've earned some special reason to feel grateful tonight, but because gratitude has always been the truest way I know to end a day in your presence. So before I ask you for anything, before I bring you my worries or my unfinished business, I want to simply sit here and thank you. Thank you for this day. Thank you for the breath that carried me through it, for the strength that showed up, even in the moments I didn't feel like I had any left, for the small, ordinary mercies I so easily overlook. Thank you for the roof over my head tonight, for warmth, for safety, for the simple gift of being alive to reach this quiet hour. I praise you because you are good, not because today was easy, but because your goodness has never once depended on how my circumstances unfolded. You are exactly as faithful in the hard parts of today as you were in the easy ones, even when I wasn't paying close enough attention to notice. That kind of steady goodness deserves my thanks regardless of what today actually looked like. I think about how easy it is to let gratitude become conditional, reserved only for days that go well, only for answered prayers and pleasant surprises. But real gratitude, the kind that actually steadies a life, has to be bigger than that. It has to be able to hold both the good and the hard within the same breath. Tonight, I want to practice that kind of gratitude, thanking you honestly, not because today was perfect, but because you were present in it, start to finish. I'm grateful for the people who made today lighter, even in small ways I might not have fully appreciated in the moment. I'm grateful for meals I didn't have to worry about finding, for a body that, even tired, carried me through. I'm grateful for you, simply for being exactly who you are, regardless of what kind of day I happen to have. I think back over today, trying to notice the specific mercies I might have rushed past in the busyness, a conversation that mattered more than I realized at the time, a small kindness from someone I barely know, a problem that resolved more easily than I expected. I don't always slow down enough to count these things individually, letting them blur together into a vague sense that today was fine, without ever actually naming what made it fine. Tonight, I want to name a few of them specifically, because gratitude gets stronger the more concrete it becomes. I'm grateful too for things that have nothing to do with today specifically, things I carry with me regardless of how any single day unfolds. The people who love me, the faith that has carried me through harder seasons than this one, the simple fact that I have somewhere warm to lay my head tonight, while so many in this world do not. I don't want my gratitude to be so focused on today's details that I forget the larger, steadier gifts underneath everything else. And I'm grateful, honestly, even for the hard parts of today, not because difficulty is good in itself, but because I trust that you were present in it just as fully as you were present in the easier moments. I don't have to pretend today was painless to still find real things to thank you for within it. Lord, alongside my gratitude tonight, I want to bring you my surrender. There are things I've been holding on to too tightly, trying to manage and control on my own strength, and I want to set them down now, honestly, before I sleep. I confess that I don't surrender easily. Something in me still believes, somewhere beneath the surface, that if I just hold on tightly enough, worry hard enough, plan carefully enough, I can keep everything from falling apart. I confess the specific things I'm still gripping tonight. Outcomes I want to control. People I want to fix. Situations I keep replaying, as though enough mental rehearsal could somehow change them. None of that gripping has ever actually made me safer. It has only made me more tired, carrying weight that was never meant to be mine to hold alone in the first place. I confess the moments today when I trusted my own strength more than I trusted you. The times I muscled through instead of asking for help. The decisions I made from anxiety instead of from peace. I confess the pride that sometimes disguises itself as self-sufficiency, as though needing you were a weakness rather than simply the truth of how I was made to live. Forgive me, Lord, for the ways I've treated surrender as defeat rather than what it has always actually been, the doorway into genuine rest. I don't want to keep confusing control with safety. Real safety has never come from my grip. It has always come from yours. I surrender tonight, specifically and by name, whatever I've been carrying today that was never mine to carry alone. The outcome I can't control. The person I can't change. The timeline I can't force to move faster. The fear I can't reason my way out of no matter how many times I run through it. I lay all of it down now, into your hands, trusting that you can hold what I was never actually strong enough to hold by myself. I confess, too, that surrender often feels like it should be a single decisive moment, a clean break where I let go once, and it's simply done. But that hasn't been my experience. Surrender, for me, has almost always been more like returning again and again to the same act of release, picking the weight back up out of habit, then catching myself and setting it down once more. I don't want to be discouraged by that pattern tonight. I want to see it honestly as what it actually is. Practice, not failure. I confess the specific fear underneath my need for control, that if I stop managing everything myself, things will fall apart in ways I won't be able to fix. That fear has never actually been rooted in your character. It's rooted in my own limited view, as though I could see the whole picture well enough to know exactly what needs to happen and when. I don't have that vantage point. You do. Help me actually rest in that difference tonight, instead of just acknowledging it intellectually while still gripping tightly underneath. I also confess the exhaustion that comes from trying to hold everything together on my own. I'm tired, Lord, in a way that goes deeper than simple physical tiredness. It's the exhaustion of carrying things I was never designed to carry alone. Tonight, I want that exhaustion itself to become the doorway into surrender, rather than something I just push through and ignore until it catches up with me completely. Father, I want to rest tonight in the truth that surrender is not the same as giving up. Releasing my grip on what I cannot control doesn't mean I stop caring, or stop hoping, or stop doing what is genuinely mine to do. It simply means I stop pretending I was ever meant to carry the weight of outcomes that were always yours to hold. You will keep in perfect peace the one whose mind is fixed on you, because that mind trusts in you. So I fix my mind on you tonight, deliberately, choosing trust over the anxious grip I've been holding all day. I don't have to solve everything tonight. I don't have to have a plan for every fear before I'm allowed to rest. I simply have to release what I cannot hold and trust the one who can. I think about how much lighter surrender actually feels once I've genuinely practiced it, and how quickly I forget that lightness and go back to gripping tightly the next time fear shows up. Tonight, I want to remember. I want this release to actually last beyond this prayer, carrying into tomorrow, rather than evaporating the moment a new worry appears. Give me the grace to keep surrendering, not just once tonight, but again and again, as many times as it takes. I know myself well enough to know I will probably try to pick this weight back up before morning. When that happens, meet me there too, gently, and remind me that I already gave this to you, and that you haven't dropped it since. I think about how physical this surrender actually needs to be tonight. Not just a mental acknowledgement, but something my body actually participates in. Let the tension in my shoulders release along with the tension in my mind. Let my breathing slow as my grip loosens. I don't want tonight's surrender to stay only in my thoughts while my body keeps carrying the same tightness it's held all day. Help this be a whole release, not a partial one. I also want to receive the rest that comes after genuine surrender, not just the release itself, but what follows it. There's a particular kind of exhaustion that comes from finally setting something down after carrying it too long. A tiredness that's actually the beginning of real rest, rather than more depletion. I welcome that tonight. Let sleep come easily, deeply, restoratively, because I have genuinely released what I was holding, rather than just performing the language of release, while still quietly gripping underneath. Quiet every anxious thought that tries to argue me back into control tonight. I know that voice well. The one that insists surrender is naive, that says real responsibility means never fully letting go. I don't want to argue with that voice tonight. I simply want to set it too, gently into your hands, trusting that responsible living and genuine trust in you have never actually been opposites. Lord, I want to think for a moment about what genuine gratitude and genuine surrender actually have in common, because I don't think they're as separate as they sometimes feel. Both require trust. Gratitude trusts that even an imperfect day held real goodness worth naming. Surrender trusts that even an unresolved situation is genuinely safe in your hands. Neither one depends on circumstances being ideal. Both depend entirely on who you are. In everything, give thanks. Your word tells me, not thanks for everything, as though every circumstance were good in itself, but thanks in the middle of every circumstance, trusting that you are present and at work, regardless of how things currently look. I want to hold that distinction carefully tonight. I'm not thanking you because today was flawless. I'm thanking you because you were faithful inside a day that wasn't. I think, too, about how surrender and gratitude both require me to stop pretending I'm the one ultimately in charge. Gratitude admits that whatever good happened today wasn't entirely my own doing. Surrender admits that whatever is still unresolved isn't entirely mine to fix. Both postures require humility, a willingness to say that I am not the center of my own story, the way anxiety sometimes convinces me I need to be. Help me hold both of these tonight, together, rather than treating them as separate exercises. Let my gratitude soften my grip. Let my surrender deepen my thankfulness. I don't want to compartmentalize my faith into moments of thanks and moments of release, as though they were unrelated. I want them to be the same movement, the same posture of trust held toward you from different angles. I think about how gratitude, practiced honestly over time, actually makes surrender easier, because each remembered instance of your faithfulness becomes evidence I can draw on the next time I'm afraid to let go of something. If I can look back and genuinely see how you carried me through difficulties I once thought I had to manage entirely on my own, that history makes tonight's surrender less of a blind leap and more of an informed trust, built on a track record rather than wishful thinking. Similarly, I think surrender makes gratitude richer, because once I stop trying to control every outcome, I become more able to actually notice and appreciate what you provide, rather than anxiously scanning for what might still go wrong, even in the middle of genuine blessing. The two really do feed each other, each one making the other more possible, more sustainable, less like separate spiritual disciplines, and more like a single unified way of living with open hands. Father, I bring before you specifically the things I found hardest to be grateful for today, because I don't want my gratitude to only cover the easy parts. If there was disappointment today, I bring it honestly, trusting that even disappointment can exist alongside genuine faith, rather than canceling it out. If there was a moment I failed, I bring that too, trusting your forgiveness rather than carrying shame into sleep. I also bring you the specific things I'm struggling to surrender tonight, the ones that keep sneaking back into my grip, even as I try to release them. A relationship I want to control the outcome of, a decision I keep second-guessing, a fear about the future that doesn't fully believe your promises are enough to cover it. I name these honestly, not because naming them fixes anything by itself, but because honesty has always been where real surrender actually begins. Help me trust you with the specific things I can't yet see resolved. I don't need every open question answered tonight. I simply need to trust that you are not absent from the questions, that you are already present in whatever tomorrow holds, working even in the parts I can't yet see clearly. I think about how much energy I spend trying to preview outcomes before they arrive, running scenarios in my mind as though enough anticipation could somehow soften whatever is actually coming. That energy has never once changed the outcome itself. It has only cost me peace in the present moment, borrowing tomorrow's uncertainty and dragging it into tonight's rest. I release that pattern too, tonight, choosing instead to trust that whatever tomorrow requires, you will provide exactly what I need for it, exactly when I need it, the way you always have before. Lord, I think about how much of my anxiety on any given day comes from trying to hold both gratitude and control at the same time, as though I could be thankful for your provision while still insisting on managing every outcome myself. Those two postures don't actually coexist well. Real gratitude requires releasing control, trusting that the same hand that has provided will continue to provide, without my needing to secure every future outcome through sheer force of worry. Teach me tonight what it looks like to live with open hands, Lord, receiving what you give with thanks, releasing what I cannot control with trust, rather than white-knuckling my way through both gratitude and fear simultaneously. I know this is a practice, not a switch I can simply flip once and be done with. Help me return to it tomorrow and the day after, until it becomes less of an effort and more of how I actually live. I think about the people I know who seem to genuinely embody this open-handed way of living, who face real difficulty without losing either their gratitude or their peace. And I want to learn from whatever they've discovered, even if I can't fully name what it is yet. I suspect it isn't a secret formula so much as simple repetition, choosing this posture again and again until it stops feeling like a discipline and starts feeling like home. I also ask for a heart that stays soft toward surrender, even on the days it feels hardest. There will be nights ahead of me, I know, when letting go feels far more difficult than it does tonight, when the specific fear or grief is heavier than what I'm carrying right now. Build in me, even now, on an easier night, the muscle memory of surrender, so that on the harder nights, releasing control feels less like a foreign skill and more like a practiced, trusted rhythm. Before I close, Father, I bring before you everyone else tonight who is struggling to feel grateful or struggling to let go of something they've been gripping tightly. I think of those for whom today held genuine hardship, for whom gratitude feels distant or even offensive to suggest right now. Meet them gently, Lord. Don't ask more of their hearts tonight than they can honestly give. I lift up those who are trying to surrender something enormous, a diagnosis, a relationship, a loss they never chose, a fear they cannot simply reason their way out of. Be especially near to them tonight. Help them release what they cannot control without feeling as though releasing it means they've stopped caring or stopped hoping. I pray for those who find gratitude easier than surrender, who can list their blessings freely, but struggle to actually let go of control. And I pray for those for whom it's the opposite, who surrender easily out of exhaustion, but have forgotten how to actually feel thankful. Meet each of us exactly where we are, and grow in us whichever of these postures we're currently missing. And I pray for anyone tonight who feels like they have nothing left to be grateful for, whose circumstances feel too heavy for Thanksgiving to make any sense right now. Be their hope in that heaviness, Lord. Remind them gently that gratitude doesn't require perfect circumstances, only your presence, which remains constant, regardless of how dark tonight might feel to them. I think of those tonight facing genuine grief, for whom gratitude and surrender both feel like impossible asks in the middle of real loss. I don't want to minimize what they're carrying by suggesting a simple prayer could resolve it. I simply ask that you would be near to them in ways that don't require them to perform thankfulness they don't yet feel, meeting them instead in the honest difficulty of where they actually are tonight. I pray for those who are trying to surrender a relationship they cannot fix, no matter how much they want to. Give them the strength to release what was never theirs to control in the first place, while still holding onto genuine hope for healing in whatever form you know is actually best. I pray for those surrendering a diagnosis, a prognosis, a body that isn't cooperating with their hopes for it. Be gentle with them tonight, and let your presence feel real, even in a body that doesn't feel safe right now. I pray too for those who are exhausted from trying to control outcomes that were always going to remain outside their control. A wayward child, an unstable job market, a world that feels increasingly unpredictable. Give them permission tonight to set down what was never theirs to hold, without that permission feeling like abandonment of the people or situations they care about. And I pray for those who are simply weary tonight, without any single dramatic crisis to point to, just the accumulated weight of trying to hold everything together for too long without enough support. Let this prayer be permission for them to release what they've been carrying and to trust that you are capable of holding it far better than they ever were. As I come to the end of this prayer, Father, I want to hold both gratitude and surrender together. One final time, before I sleep. Thank you for today, all of it, the parts I understood and the parts I didn't. And I release tonight, fully, whatever I was still gripping when this prayer began. Both belong to you now. Both always did. Thank you for hearing this prayer. Imperfect as my thankfulness and my surrender both are tonight. Thank you for not requiring either to be flawless before you receive them. Thank you for meeting me exactly here, grateful and still learning to let go, and calling that enough. Tonight and every night, I return to try again. Into your hands, I commit my spirit tonight. My gratitude, my surrender, everything I named, and everything I didn't have words for. Watch over me as I sleep. Let this rest be real. Not just a pause before I pick everything back up again tomorrow, but genuine release, carried by trust rather than by my own tired grip. I don't know exactly how tomorrow will test this surrender. What new worry will try to convince me to grip tightly again before I've even finished my morning coffee. But I trust that the same grace that helped me release tonight will still be available tomorrow and the day after that, for as many times as I need to return to this same posture of letting go. This isn't a single achievement I complete once. It's a practice I get to keep returning to, imperfectly, for the rest of my life. And that's genuinely enough. Whatever version of tomorrow's me needs to hear this again, I trust you'll meet that version too, with the same patience you've shown me tonight, the same willingness to receive an imperfect surrender rather than demanding a flawless one before you'll accept it. Thank you for being patient with me in this practice, Lord, for not requiring me to surrender perfectly before you'll receive what I'm offering. Thank you for meeting me exactly where I am tonight, still learning both how to be thankful and how to let go, and calling that honest effort enough, rather than demanding a mastery I haven't reached yet and may never fully reach on this side of eternity. Thank you for your goodness. Thank you for being trustworthy enough to actually hold what I release. Thank you for walking through today with me and for already being present in tomorrow before I've even had the chance to worry about it. In Jesus' name, amen.